Greetings once again, spacefaring and adventurers. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with Eden Zero. Previously, we've arrived at Sunjewel, and the monstrous gem-like creatures and bugs have broken through the protective walls and started swarming the city. The people have taken shelter, and in this universe, Madame Kurenai, Homero's mother, isn't a tyrannical ruler. She is a protector. Her punishers don't harm the innocent, but they're a band of people who protect the innocent. Shiki, Wise, and Rebecca join the fight to protect the people, while Homura goes to a shelter as she still does not remember her past in the previous universe, as well as her warrior spirit. But, not wanting to sit on the sideline, and to honor her mentor, Homura goes into the battlefield, despite her powerlessness. And who should arrive on the scene? None other than the previously thought deceased Valkyrie, who tells her pupil to stand strong. Seeing her mentor in action, Homura's memories come flooding back, and when her mother Madame Kurenai is in danger, Homura shows her true power, felling the biggest of beasts and giving thanks to such a kind universe. But the question still remains. 1. How is Valkyrie alive? Was she not beheaded by the Emperor? Or does simply being beheaded not equate to her death in the previous universe where she was overrun and her entire body was ravaged? And why did Madame Kurenai never come back for her daughter? Yes, she protected Sunjewel, but if Valkyrie was alive at well, couldn't at least one of them have come to Homura at any point? Will we get our answers? Join me as I find out, won't you? Eden Zero, Chapter 234, Kurenai's Tear, and a absolutely gorgeous depiction of Valkyrie. I gotta get them cheesecake shots to make up for lost time, right? The four shining stars, Sword of Edens, Valkyrie Yuna, a swordswoman. Sorry, the breaks were making me wait, what? A swordswoman with a kind heart and a firm grasp of battle. I'm glad to have gotten my wish in the end. I know it's cheesy, but Mashima did a good job of making me really want Valkyrie to be alive in this universe. So for me, it gets a pass. If other people don't feel the same way, I understand. Alright, we pick up with some construction to the gate that was destroyed. As someone says, Gate 13 has been sealed off. We've also burned down their nests for now. We should be safe. And it's so weird to see Eagle and Geralt fist bumping each other and smiling, and Baku smiling at them, and Yak and Van just all cheers and them all happy together when they were fierce enemies before. Oh, and the kids love Nino. He's teaching them the power of anime. Valkyrie Yuna lets out a sigh as the battle is done, while Homura still seems to be striking a battle stance. Valkyrie tells her, "It seems your skills have improved, Homura." Homura turns to her mentor, tears instantly filling her eyes as she goes running to her, calling out to her teacher. And as she hugs her with tears in her eyes, she hysterically tells Valkyrie, I wanted to see you for so long, in the last world and in this one. Valkyrie questions, last world? Homura says, worry not of that. Meeting again like this is enough. Valkyrie holds Homura close, saying, I'm sorry, Homura. I've wanted to see you too. You've gotten so big. Kurenai watches Valkyrie and Homura hold each other, and man, I'm so not used to such a genuine look on Kurenai's face. I will admit, when we were doing Sunjewel before, I kept expecting Kurenai to have even the slightest turn for her daughter. Some kind of care, some kind of lament. And when all the things happened and her fate was revealed later on, I was like, oh snap. That's pretty dark. I kept expecting her to come back in some way, shape, or form and maybe make up with her daughter, but it never happened. But that was the previous universe. Again, some people might feel like, this robs everything we've seen before of its agency and how it happened and yada yada yada. Or maybe I'm making up fake criticism because I'm so used to people criticizing stuff I actually enjoy, but I'm like, no, that stuff still happened. That is an entirely different timeline. In this day and age, like, I've read comics for a long time, so I'm used to alternate futures. Like, there was an existence that took this route, and we saw how that ended. And now we have this existence, and we're seeing where that route went. To a certain extent, this is almost basically a completely different person, honestly, because this Kurenai does not have those same experiences the previous Madame Kurenai had. And Homura essentially is the only one in this situation who remembers a completely different life. Valkyrie turns to Kurenai saying, "You see, Kurenai, it's just as I told you. Homura would come here for sure." So Valkyrie knew her daughter, well, I'm calling her daughter. Valkyrie knew Homura would come here? Huh. Homura turns and says, "Madame Kurenai." Kurenai's silent for a moment, looking contemplative, and then she turns away saying, "I've no right to call myself her mother. I'm so sorry, Homura." And she goes racing off. Much to Homura's shock, Valkyrie says the situation she's in is a bit complicated. And Homura calls out to her mother pensively. Wise, Rebecca, and Shiki all turn to Homura and Valkyrie, and Wise says, "Huh?" Rebecca says, "Is that?" And Shiki shouts, "Valkyrie!" Pino is overjoyed, saying she is alive. And Happy shouts, "Aye!" But Shiki, Wise, and Rebecca just say, "But that's what?" I love their shock. Valkyrie turns to them saying, "Are these your friends?" Homura informs her they are the crew of Eden Zero. Valkyrie shouts, "Did you say Eden Zero?" Valkyrie and Shiki's eyes meet, and she instantly remembers the little baby from long, long ago. Valkyrie shouts, "You're Shiki." And Shiki blushes, saying, "Oh right, you just met me when I was a baby, didn't you?" Man, Valkyrie. Like, the fact that she remembered instantly kinda gets me. Valkyrie says, "What a surprise, to think that the same baby grew this big. And Homura boarded that ship. Are the other shining stars doing good too?" Homura says they are all quite well. This is Wise, Rebecca, Happy, and Pino. I have no idea who says it, but someone says, "Hey there," and another says, "Nice to meet ya." Maybe it's easier to tell in Japanese because of the way certain characters talk. Wise then says, "Huh? Homura, you." Rebecca finishes saying, "Your memories of the last world." Homura beams, saying, "I apologize for worrying you. As you can see, my memories are still in disarray." She then turns to Yuna, saying, "But anyway, teacher, I was certain I saw you beheaded 5 years ago." And Valkyrie simply says, "Androids don't die just by getting their heads cut off. They hurt like hell, though." Okay. I thought that was going to be the explanation. I don't blame Homura for instantly thinking like she died, but it's like, no, with the original death of Valkyrie, is like, no, she was beaten to shit by being overrun. Like, she made a last stand at the Alamo situation, and that completely destroyed her past the point of repair. In terms of getting beheaded, it's like, well, this is bad. I mean, I think as long as her head's intact, I don't know really where her, like, central everything is located, but I'm pretty sure they all have it in their heads to, make them as similar to humans as possible. It's always hard to tell what extent of damage they could suffer without dying. Homer then shouts, "Then why did you vanish from under my very nose?" And Valkyrie looks at her like, "What are you, stupid?" Saying, "The one who up and vanished was you." And Homer says, "What?" And you have a flashback of Valkyrie waking up in bed with Creed next to her as she explains, "A few weeks after I was beheaded, I woke up in Lord Seiji's second home." Homer shouts, "Lord Seiji?" Valkyrie explains, "He was the one who repaired me." Okay, so Creed had some knowledge of androids, so, I mean, she could have been completely done in if she wasn't repaired. She might have just been offline for a good long time. I mean, she was beheaded. She was offline for a while. So it's not that she was, like, killed, but it was like she just blacked out. It's like, and down. Like, if they had destroyed her head, like, that would have been the end of the road, but it was more like a severe injury. Valkyrie then explains, "But it was too late, and you'd already left Oedo by then." Homura looks away sheepishly, saying, "Huh? Really? Was that how it went? Alright, by the time the me of this world decided to find my mother." Valkyrie then goes on to say, "To find you, I met a fortune teller named Xiao Mei. Yeah. I wonder if Xiao Mei's different in this universe. Does her hair look different? I don't know. It might just be the angle I'm seeing it at. And Xiao Mei says, simply wait on Sunjewel. Homer will certainly appear. Shiki's got a kind of bewildered and pensive look on his face. Valkyrie then says, and when I came to Sunjewel, your mother, Kurenai, would be here. I explained the situation to her, and we agreed to wait for you together. Homer states, I understand what happened to you, teacher, but there is one thing I do not. How could you get along so well with the mother who abandoned me? I'm sorry, I know this is a dramatic scene, but like this undershot that's just Homura's booty, and then Valkyrie, like, with her arms crossed, but is making her boobs, like, pulp out. It's just like, well, damn. Valkyrie rather solemnly says she didn't abandon you, which has a very kind of shocked, but just kind of, I wouldn't say shocked, but more taken off guard look from Homura. We then cut to the main tower, with Kurenai looking over her inside garden as dawn breaks, and Kurenai has this very solemn look on her face. Homura enters from behind, saying, Mother, it has been some time. The Stardust Kurenai, who simply kind of calls to her daughter, asking, why did you come here? Homura says, the me of this world came so I might find you. Kurenai, shaking, says, I have nothing to say to you. Please leave. Homura continues to walk forward to her mother, saying, I am not a child. I even learned to wield a sword. There is no longer any need for you to protect me. Kurenai continues to shake as her daughter sits next to her. Homura says, my teacher, Valkyrie, told me everything. Okay, I'm curious. I mean, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm kind of guessing what went on here, but I'm not sure if there's more to it. We have a flashback to Valkyrie explaining about 10 years ago after entrusting you to a nurse, so that's already a bit different, because Kurenai abandoned her. Valkyrie says Kurenai came to Sunjewel as a migrant worker, so they don't really have a slave force. Seems like she lost her husband. Okay, so it wasn't just some dude. Your father early on and lived a poor life. She actually planned to return to Odo with her earnings here as soon as possible, but that's not what happened. While she was working here, a big shot on this plant took a fancy to her. Maybe it was the Baron. He was also the kind of guy who'd stop at nothing to have his way. To get his hands on Kurenai, who turned him down at every turn, he held the people of Odo hostage. Satellite Blaze. Oh, yeah, that's the weapon Kurenai used. So yeah, it must be the Baron. Valkyrie explains, it's a satellite orbiting this planet, equipped with a long-range cannon. If he didn't have Kurenai, he would fire on Edo. Kurenai had no choice to obey and become the wife of someone she didn't love. Still, Kurenai wanted to see you no matter what, so she tried to escape once but failed. As a show of anger, he ordered his minions to slaughter the people of Oedo. That was the war where you and I first met. It was waged by Sunjewel's private army. Oh, and those are the Punishers that Kurenai originally had before. Valkyrie explains, of course he didn't really want Oedo to fall in the first place, so the war ended immediately. But Kurenai, who saw for herself how dangerous this man was, could never act against him again. Eventually, after Kurenai met me, she came to believe you would come to see her one day, and endured it all. I wanted to save Kurenai too, but as long as Satellite Blaze was in his hands, I couldn't. On another note, Kurenai wasn't the one who owed money to Draken. Draken tangled you up based on false intel. Okay. So Kurenai didn't borrow from Draken in this universe. Oh, given the history, she was originally sold off, by Draken, but that didn't really seem to be the case. Draken was just kind of capitalizing on something that seemed like an easy moneymaker. Valkyrie then goes on to explain, before long, Kurenai formed a vigilante group, the Punishers. Also, she could protect the people, and so that by the time she could meet you, she would be a mother you could be proud of and present. As Homura looks at Kurenai, she says, and I could not be more proud. Kurenai then turns to Homura and says, you must leave at once. If that man finds you here, then. And suddenly the door opens behind them, and in comes Shiki, Rebecca, happy and wise, and the Baron beaten to a bloody pulp, thrown to the ground. I'm really just assuming he's the Baron, because we never met that guy, I don't think, because in the other universe, Kurenai assassinated him, right? Shiki throws the Baron to the ground, saying, "You mean this jerk?" As Rebecca says, "Pardon us." And Weiss says, "Don't sweat it. We taught him a lesson he'll never forget." Kurenai looks absolutely aghast, saying, "What have you done? Satellite Blaze will." Homer simply says, "Such a thing no longer exists," much to Kurenai's shock, as, just like in the previous universe, the Eden Zero F'd that thing up. With Valkyrie looking on from the ground saying, "Eden Zero's main canon, eh?" And she chuckles to herself. Homer even holds up the stuffed plushie that her mother gave to her, saying, "This time for your freedom. The time for your freedom has come, Mother." And Kurenai looks on at the plushie with tears filling her eyes, remembering when she gave it to her daughter. Kurenai brings her daughter in for an embrace, saying, "Homura, I'm so sorry. I'm unfit to be your mother." And Homura smiles, saying, "That is not for you to decide." I feel like something like that was said previously. I just don't remember how it was said. As Shiki and Rebecca and Wise look on with smiles on their faces. It almost got a tear out of me. It almost got a tear. It's a very sweet moment. It's the kind of moment Homer was kind of owed, considering what she went through previously. Her wish from the last world came true, and she is embraced by her mother. Feeling her real mother's true love, Homer returns to the Eden Zero. And yeah, I have to wonder though, will Homer return to the Eden Zero with Valkyrie? Or will Valkyrie stay behind in order to protect the people? That's hard to say. See, I really like this just because Mashima, filled the previous timelines with so many terrible things. Like, some really sad and awful things happened. Like, there was, just a lot of bad stuff that happened to our characters in some of these alternate universes. And sometimes even the best outcomes just were really sad, really bad outcomes. But for Homura, this feels like a do-over she's kind of owed to a certain extent. And she still went to that thing in that previous universe, but it's like, hey, there's the mom you always wanted. Part of me kind of hopes they stay on Sun Jewel for like a week or so. Just let Homura just be with her mom and her mentor at the same time for a little while. So like almost a Homer has two moms situations. Like let her bask in this for a while. Like I've said it before and I said it again and I'll say it again. Like this has all like really reminded me like what I really loved Homura, how tragic her story previously was, and how much I kind of want this for Homura. Just to let her be happy for a little while, Like, I know they got the mission and they're kind of speed running this happier universe. They were able to take care of things a lot easier because the Baron didn't have the same level of protection as Kurenai did. Like, man, this really goes to show that Kurenai built up some, forces in the previous universe. And she did in this universe too, but all those forces came together in a more positive way. And since the crew dealt with the satellite before, it's just like, oh, we've done this before. Bada bing, bada boom, it's done. Honestly, the whole situation here kind of makes me think of Avatar The Last Airbender. Like, if you know the story of Zuko's mom and Fire Lord Ozai, it's very similar. Married under duress, threatened with the consequences should she disobey. At least that's what came to mind for me. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. For me, I like this outcome, but I want to hear from you. Also remember to subscribe for more Eden Zero, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.